Hello, I'm Infamous Fear. What's that? It's time for Infamous Queer!
Pride, 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 darling, darling, pride, pride, 95!
So, the Holocaust. As we all know, it was bad. The sheer evil of the Holocaust has featured as a backdrop for several movies, but until 1993's Schindler's List, the Holocaust was box office poison. No mainstream director even wanted to go near it. Nowadays, it's Oscar bait.
Oscar bait. Coming soon to cinemas everywhere.
They can take my chair, but they cannot take my Oscar!
Do a movie with something to do with the Holocaust and you can rake in those little gold statuettes. In any case, it's time to review one of the better Holocaust movies, and one of the only ones to be about the persecution of gay people as opposed to Jewish people. This is 1997's Bent.
I reaffirm my endless devotion to the belief that we're all of value, we're all of virtue.
Quick disclaimer, I'm going to say some things in this review that may be considered slightly distasteful. Strangely, I don't condone the Holocaust, and I felt extremely bad for laughing at this movie, but what the hell, it gets reviewed anyway. I'm going to hell for this, aren't I? Yes you are. Well, anyway, time to confront my eternal damnation and begin the review. The film opens up with images of a ridiculously opulent gay club. Dr. Frankenfurter is singing a beautiful song.
Streets of Berlin.
Wait, no, that's not Dr. Frankenfurter, that's Mick Jagger! What the fuck? So basically, the gay club is full of amazingly over-the-top people who look like 1930s versions of Lady Gaga, and lots of people having sex all over the place. It's a hedonistic palace, and we all know it's not going to last. Our main character is Max, and he lives in a warehouse with no railings on the stairs. Oh, he's broken quite a few safety codes there. Max lives in the warehouse with his annoying boyfriend Rudy, a man with the weakest jaw I've ever seen, but despite the presence of Rudy, he still sleeks around. He brings home a handsome Aryan member of the SA, but unfortunately this is the night of the long knives. History interlude! The Nazi Party had a number of openly gay members, most notably the leader of the brown shirts, Ernst Röhm. Hitler was worried about the power that Röhm commanded, and thus killed him and a whole bunch of other SA members, using their homosexuality as an excuse for doing so. So, back to the plot. The SS breaks into Max's apartment, and one of them is played by Jude Law, except in this role he looks more like Kirsten Dunst. They chase the three men around the apartment in a scene that would have been funny if it didn't end with the Aryan guy getting his throat slit. Max and Rudy, however, manage to escape. Let's hide in these closets! Inside the closets they find Frankenjagger, the man who denounced them earlier by circling their faces in a photograph. Frankenjagger torches all of his drag queen clothing and then goes off to pretend that he's completely heterosexual, leaving the other two men to fend for themselves.
So how about you?
Me. Everyone knows I'm not queer.
Max and Rudy walk past some people cutting up a horse and some other stuff, and why was there a clown prostitute? Since Rudy's a complete bitch, he whines about how he's going to miss his dance class, even though he's on the run from the Nazis!
I'm not leaving Berlin.
We have to.
No, we don't have to. I've paid up for dance class for the next 2 weeks. I can't leave.
You saw a guy killed in front of you, and yet you're bitching about missing your fucking dance class? This would be understandable if Rudy were 5 and didn't understand the gravity of the situation, but he's a fully grown man! Ah! Time to start the countdown until Rudy dies!
You've ruined everything.
Go back to your fucking dance class! I can shoot you in the middle of an arabesque.
Max then goes to talk to his uncle Ian McKellen in a public park. Yes, they're sitting next to an insane woman, but in a public park? They have an extremely public conversation about Max getting some false papers to get out of the country, but since Ian McKellen can only get Max one set of papers, Max declines because he wants Rudy to go with him.
I need 2 tickets. I can't get 2.
I can't get 2.
Oh, just dump Rudy, just go! Rudy are living in the middle of the forest with their heads in a wash basin. For some reason, Rudy is still acting like a massive bitch and complains about the cheese he bought, deciding the appropriate response is to throw it away, even though they probably need to eat it. He then continues to be annoying.
This is crazy. We're in the middle of the jungle.
Forest.
Jungle. I can't dance anymore. I've walked my feet away. But you don't mind. You're working on a deal. You worked on a deal in Berlin. You work on a deal in the jungle.
Forest.
No, you're just hanging around waiting for me to die. I think you've poisoned the cheese.
It's your cheese.
Max reminds him that there are, Nazis looking for them, so they settle down in the washtub to sleep. Max tells Rudy not to kiss him because the noise will attract the Nazis. Apparently singing is fine though.
Forget me, was I ever really?
Singing with your heads in a big echoey washtub and oh look at that, they just got caught by the Nazis. I never saw that one coming! Max and Rudy get put on a train to the concentration camp and one of the gayest looking Nazis ever decides to make Rudy smash his own glasses.
Hornrimmed. Intelligentsia.
What?
Step on your glasses. Step on them.
Hang on, I thought it was communists who were anti-intellectual, not Nazis. I mean, sure, the Nazis hated just about everything, but who cares, on with the movie. For some reason, the exterior shots of the train are in sepia. The gayest Nazi ever keeps on threatening Rudy, and eventually takes him away to beat him to death. Yes! Max doesn't intervene because another prisoner on the train tells Max that denial of Rudy is the only way to save himself.
You can do nothing for your friend, nothing. If you try to help him, they will kill you. If you try to care for his wounds, they will kill you. If you want to stay alive, you cannot exist.
Your friend? Your friend?
No!
Hit him! It's your friend!
No!
Again. Enough! That's enough!
Hopefully Rudy isn't going to do a Jesus and come back from the dead and get all up on Max's case for denying him. With a cock. What? It's in the original story. Look it up. The Nazis, however, still aren't convinced that Max doesn't know Rudy carnally, so they take him into a room with a woman in it. I assume that they force him to have sex with her, but the camera is spinning around so much that I can't tell. The prisoners finally manage to get out of the train and are paraded around the countryside so that they can be laughed at by fat picnickers. Max finds the prisoner who spoke to him earlier and tries to open up to him and hey, wait a minute, their voices sound familiar.
How'd you get that?
What?
Your pink triangle.
I signed a petition
What kind?
for Magnus Hirschfeld.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to make queers.
Legal.
But I gather such an irony is lost on you.
No. What I meant was.
Oh God, no! So the other prisoner isn't too keen to speak to him because Max is wearing the wrong symbol on his uniform.
How'd you get the yellow star?
I'm Jewish.
You're not Jewish, you're queer.
Maybe I'm both.
Then you'd wear both.
I didn't want one.
Didn't want one.
You told me it was the lowest.
But so's the yellow star.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be a queer, so I worked a deal.
You're full of shit.
Okay, I get what you're trying to say, but it's pretty easy to understand why Max pretended to be Jewish. The Holocaust is not the time for gay pride! We then find out how he managed to persuade the officers on the train that he wasn't gay.
I made love. Who to her? Maybe only 13. She was dead. They said, prove that you're... And I did. Prove that you're... Lots of them. Watching. Laughing, drinking. He's a bit bent. They said he can't. But I did. How? I don't know.
God, the Holocaust sucks. So Max and the other guy, Horst, get entered into the concentration camp database. And hey, wait a minute! This isn't a concentration camp at all! This is a brickworks! So the Nazis in this movie for some reason didn't want the prisoners doing any meaningful work, even though the Nazis always put prisoners to work in factories or killed them or used them in some horrible experiments. So Horst is forced to go off and do some brick sifting, while Max is instructed to move rocks around. What the hell? Apparently shifting rocks from one pile to another is supposed to send Max mad, but really, why would the Nazis bother? And where are all the extras in this camp? Why are there only about 2 Nazis in the whole camp? I thought the whole point of concentration camps was, the concentration, meaning that they were horrendously overcrowded, and yet for the rest of this movie we only see about 4 other people. I know this would have been fine in the play that this was based on, but this is a movie, and surely they could have afforded to hire a few more extras. We see a few shots of Horst in the barracks, but we never see the barracks where Max is supposed to be. Is he the only Jew in the camp? This is stupid! Max gets pretty bored with all the rock moving and bribes a guard to send Horst over to work with him. Horst is pretty pissed off because he's still sore over the fact that Max won't admit to the Nazis that he's gay rather than Jewish. Look, Horst, I admire your intentions and courage, but they're Nazis! You can hardly blame Max for wanting to keep it a secret! However, they eventually start to open up to each other. Horst asks Max whether he misses sex and then starts coming on to him.
I've been looking at you all morning.
Yeah?
You look sexy.
Me?
Without your shirt.
No.
Come off it. You know you're sexy.
However, since they can't actually touch each other, and since there's apparently a Nazi watching from 150 metres away, they can't have regular sex. So instead they do this.
You feel my cock. Do you feel my mouth? Yes. I want you. Do you feel me inside you?
I want you inside me.
Feel.
I have you inside me. More. Now. Yes. More. Now. Yes. Now.
I think I've seen this before. The closer flashbacks. Later, Horst confesses that he loves Max, who doesn't want to hear anything about it.
I love you. Isn't that silly?
Don't love me.
It's my secret.
Don't love me.
It makes me happy. When I have a signal, when I rub my left eyebrow at you like this, it means I love you.
You might think that you'd see him do this later in the film, but no, it's never mentioned again. Max and Horst still have to keep moving rocks around, and we still never see any more than about 4 people in the camp. Max notices that Horst is losing weight, which is apparently a cause for concern, even though everyone's probably losing weight because this is a concentration camp. Horst is sick and fed up, and Max decides to give him some medicine after they have yet another attempted verbal sex which gets stuffed up because Max verbally bit Horst's nipple and he just wasn't into that.
Stop it, I'm serious. You're hurting me.
You pulled away.
Yes, I did. Why can't you be gentle?
I am.
You're not. You try to hurt me. You make me warmer than you hurt me. I hurt enough. I don't want to feel more pain.
When we next see them, Max gives Horst the medicine. How did he get it?
Why don't you tell me?
You're never gonna let up, are you?
I don't know.
Suppose you don't like the answer. I'll chance it. I went down on him.
What?
You heard.
No, I didn't.
You wanted to know. I told you you wouldn't like it.
Horst is fairly pissed off about this, even though this is a concentration camp, and doing anything within your power to survive is fairly reasonable.
You went down on him.
I had to. I didn't have any money.
You touched him?
No, I just went down on him. Of course, he could be queer, but you don't like to think about that, do you? You don't want them to be queer.
No, I don't.
Well, that's silly.
Well, for once, you're right. It is silly. There are queer Nazis. And queer saints, and queer geniuses, and queer nobodies. Just people. That's why I'm wearing this triangle. That's why you should be wearing it.
Do you think the captain would let a queer go down on him? Somebody straight, yes, even a Jew. He would kill me if he knew I was a queer.
What the hell? If you were going to get a guy to fillet you, you'd want it to be a gay guy because he'd actually know how to do it. Nazis are stupid! However, in this case, Horst was probably right, since now the Nazis have come to torment Max and Horst. The absurdly young Nazis decide to have some fun by making Horst fetch his hat from the electric fence. Horst doesn't take it well. What? That was the most pointless way to die ever! The Nazis leave, saying that Max now has to bury Horst.
I never held you before. I think I love you.
Max comes to the understandable conclusion that everything is irredeemably shit and commits suicide. And that's the end. So yeah, now I've spent a whole review laughing at a movie which is even more serious than different from the others. I'm a terrible person. Yes, Bent is about a horrible, horrible period in history, but it doesn't mean that it should be above criticism. I fully appreciate the intentions of the movie, but there are just so many things wrong with it. Namely Max's insanely irritating boyfriend, but enough about that. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to language choices, and I think I would have appreciated this movie more if it were filmed in German with English subtitles. Yes, I know there's such a thing as suspension of disbelief, but I'd prefer to do a bit of reading rather than have to hear Clive Owen's ridiculously English voice. As I've already mentioned, Bent was based on a play. I don't have a lot of confidence in plays adapted to films because they're different formats, and what works in a play often becomes monotonous and painful in a film setting. When it comes to plays adapted to films, Bent did better than most, but I'm still wondering why the concentration camp was so unconcentration campy. Allegedly, they were incarcerated at Dachau, but see for yourself. This is Dachau. This is not Dachau! Also, why were there only 2 Nazis, 1 barracks which we barely even see, and no understandable industry? I know we were only supposed to focus on 2 characters, but you can still do that and have extras milling about. Overall, it's not a bad movie, and you'll probably be far more emotionally affected by it than I was. I watched it with a very cynical friend. But the best gay movie ever, it is not. So that was Bent, and if you'll excuse me, I've got to go and throw up. I think someone might have poisoned my cheese. It's your cheese!
Where did cheese go? I don't know. Where did cheese go? I don't know. I don't know. Where did cheese go? I don't know. Where did cheese go? I don't